Have you ever wondered why some men seem to attract women with no apparent effort, as if they had an invisible magnet that instantly sparks female interest? The truth is, 93% of men are making critical mistakes that sabotage their chances before they even open their mouths. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal the 4 fundamental principles of male attraction that will completely transform your presence and ignite genuine desire in any woman you want. We're not talking about manipulative tactics or cheap tricks. We're talking about a deep transformation in your essence as a man, a change that will not only attract quality women, but revolutionize all your social interactions. If you're tired of being ignored, of seeing other less qualified men get the women you desire, or you simply want to elevate your game to a level you never imagined possible, pay close attention. What I'm about to share with you isn't taught anywhere else. Perhaps you've already experienced this situation. You're at a party, a bar, or even on a dating app. You see a woman who sparks your interest. You muster up the courage, approach her, try to start a conversation, and then nothing. Short answers, closed-off body language, that look of disinterest you know all too well. Or worse, that feeling. She's just waiting for an opportunity to escape the conversation. Frustrating, isn't it? Now imagine the opposite scene. You walk into a room and, with no apparent effort, women start noticing your presence. Conversation flows naturally. There's genuine laughter, accidental touches on your arm, that sparkle in her eyes that indicates real interest. This isn't an unattainable fantasy. It's the direct result of applying the principles I'm about to reveal now. The first fundamental principle that very few men understand is the paradox of inverse attraction. Pay close attention, because this concept alone can completely revolutionize your results with women. Most men approach attraction as a linear process. The more you show interest, the more you pursue, the more you try to impress, the greater the chance of winning over the desired woman. Wrong, absolutely wrong. Female desire doesn't work that way. In fact, it operates in the exact opposite direction. Think about the women you've been completely obsessed with in the past, the ones who occupied your thoughts day and night. In most cases, they were precisely the women who didn't show obvious interest in you, weren't they? The ones who seemed slightly out of your reach, the ones you couldn't quite figure out. This isn't an isolated phenomenon. It's a psychological response deeply rooted in the female brain. Women are biologically attracted to men who represent a challenge. Men who aren't desperately seeking approval. Men whose validation needs to be earned. When you pursue openly, when you show excessive interest too early, when you put a woman on a pedestal, you are unconsciously communicating, "You are more valuable than me." And nothing diminishes female desire more than a man who devalues himself. Contrary to what many men think, women don't want a man who treats them like untouchable goddesses. They want a man who treats them as equals, or even slightly below his own perceived value. It is this subtle imbalance that creates sexual tension and desire. Let me give you a practical example. The next time you're talking to a woman you're interested in, observe your own mental posture. Are you anxious to impress her? Are you censoring your thoughts, adapting your opinions, trying to be what you think she wants you to be? If so, you've already lost. Instead, adopt the mindset that it is you who is evaluating whether she is worth your time and attention. It is you who has abundant options. It is you who is the prize to be won, not the other way around. This doesn't mean being arrogant or disrespectful, not at all. It simply means recognizing your own value and acting from that place of unshakable confidence. When you approach a woman with the energy of, "I'm checking if you're interesting enough for me," instead of, "Please give me a chance," the dynamic changes completely. She feels it, not in your words, but in your energy, in your presence, in your gaze. The question you must be asking yourself now is, how do I develop this mindset authentically? How do I overcome years of social conditioning that taught me to put women on pedestals? The answer lies in the second fundamental principle, the mastery of polarized masculine presence. Here's what 99% of men don't understand. Attraction isn't a behavior. It's not something you do. It's something you are. It's an energy that emanates from you naturally when you are completely aligned with your masculine essence. Women are biologically programmed to respond to sexual polarity. The more you embrace and express your authentic masculine energy, the more irresistibly attractive you become to feminine energy. But what exactly constitutes this polarized masculine energy? I'm not talking about superficial stereotypes like big muscles or aggression. I'm talking about essential qualities like purpose, direction, firmness, presence, and quiet leadership. A man who knows exactly who he is and where he's going. A man who doesn't seek external validation because he already validates himself internally. Think about the men who naturally attract women with no apparent effort. What do they have in common? It's not necessarily physical beauty, money, or social status, although those factors can help. It's an intangible quality of presence and inner certainty. A confidence that doesn't come from external achievements, but from a deep knowledge and acceptance of who they are. When you enter a room completely rooted in this polarized masculine energy, women feel it instantly. It's as if you emit a silent signal that communicates, "I know who I am, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm not here to impress anyone." This self-sufficiency is paradoxically the greatest magnet for female attraction. Now, I'm going to give you 3 practical exercises to develop this polarized masculine presence in your daily life. First, practice physical grounding. Several times a day, especially before social interactions, plant your feet firmly on the ground, breathe deeply into your abdomen, relax your shoulders, and feel connected to the earth. Imagine a powerful energy rising from the ground through your feet, filling your entire body. This simple exercise instantly transforms your physical presence. Second, practice the conscious pause. Insecure men talk fast, move nervously, rush to fill silences. Men with powerful presence are comfortable with silence. When a woman asks a question, don't answer immediately. Take a 3-second pause, maintain eye contact, then respond deliberately, without haste. This simple habit communicates deep confidence and puts you in control of the interaction. Third, practice sexual containment. Most men project desperate sexual energy when interacting with attractive women. It's almost as if they're begging, "Please give me sex." This energy repels women instantly. Instead, practice containing your sexual energy. Feel the desire, but don't let it control you. Transform it into a magnetic presence that attracts instead of pursues. When you master this art, you literally become irresistible. If this content is making sense to you, if you feel like you're finally understanding what has always been missing in your interactions with women, hit the like button now. This helps the algorithm show this video to other men who desperately need this information. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive more content like this. We have much more to share. Now let's move on to the third fundamental principle, subconscious communication that transcends words. Here's a truth that few men understand. Words represent only 7% of human communication. The other 93% is composed of body language, vocal tone, micro-expressions, and dozens of subconscious signals your body constantly emits without you even realizing it. You can have the best opening lines, the most interesting stories, the funniest jokes. But if your subconscious communication isn't aligned, none of it will matter. Women are incredibly intuitive. They can sense inconsistencies between your words and your non-verbal communication instantly. And when they detect that inconsistency, all interest evaporates. The good news is that once you understand the principles of subconscious communication, you can completely transform your ability to create deep attraction with any woman. Let's explore the 3 most powerful elements of this communication that transcends words. First, master magnetic eye contact. Nothing, absolutely nothing, communicates confidence and presence more powerfully than consistent and comfortable eye contact. Most men avoid prolonged eye contact with attractive women because they feel intimidated or uncomfortable. Others stare in a predatory or desperate way. Both extremes destroy attraction. Magnetic eye contact is neither submissive nor dominating. It is warm, present, slightly playful. When you speak, maintain 90% eye contact. When she speaks, maintain 70%. Occasionally, allow your gaze to slowly drop to her lips, then return to her eyes. This simple pattern creates instant sexual tension without saying a single word about attraction. Second, master the power of dynamic proximity. The way you occupy physical space in relation to a woman communicates volumes about your confidence and intentions. Insecure men keep a safe distance, afraid of invading personal space. Men without social calibration get too close, too fast, creating discomfort. Instead, practice what I call dynamic proximity. Start the interaction at a comfortable, social distance. As the connection deepens, gradually reduce the distance during moments of strong emotional engagement. Then intentionally create distance again. This dance of approach and withdrawal creates a hypnotic rhythm that dramatically intensifies sexual tension. Third, master the art of magnetic vocal tone. Your voice is one of the most powerful tools for creating attraction. Insecure men talk fast, loud, with a high pitch, and end sentences as if they are asking questions. Men with powerful presence speak slowly, deeply, with controlled volume, and end sentences with downward authority. Practice speaking 20% slower than your normal pace. Breathe deeply before speaking to naturally deepen your voice. Vary your tone to create emotional engagement. Lower and slower to create intimacy. Higher and faster to create excitement. This simple change in your vocal communication can double or triple your ability to create instant attraction. Remember, the power of subconscious communication is not in manipulative techniques. It is in aligning your external expression with your internal conviction. When you truly internalize the principles we are discussing, these communication patterns flow naturally. It's not about faking confidence. It's about cultivating genuine confidence and allowing it to express itself through every cell of your body. Now, we come to the fourth and perhaps most powerful fundamental principle, the mastery of intentional escalation. This is the element that separates men who create genuinely romantic and sexual connections from the good friends who never move beyond the friend zone. And here is the brutal truth. If you don't know how to intentionally escalate an interaction from social to romantic and sexual, you are condemned to a life of rejection and frustration. Intentional escalation is not about aggressive or invasive techniques. It's not about making an awkward move after hours of platonic conversation. It's about communicating your romantic sexual intentions from the first moment, subtly but unequivocally, and gradually intensifying that communication in a calibrated manner throughout the interaction. Here's what most men don't understand. Women decide in seconds, not minutes, not hours, literally seconds, whether they categorize you as a potential romantic sexual partner or just a friend. And that categorization is based almost entirely on your ability to communicate polarized masculine intention from the outset. The key is what I call non-neediness. You express clear interest, but without a desperate need for reciprocation. You value the interaction, but you don't need it to feel complete. This delicate balance creates a psychological space where she can feel attracted to you without feeling pressured. Let's get practical. How do you intentionally escalate an interaction from first contact to physical intimacy? There are 3 critical phases you need to master. Phase 1, establishing initial polarity. In the first moments of the interaction, you subtly establish that you are not approaching her as a friend, but as a man interested in a woman. This doesn't require explicit words. It can be communicated through a slightly longer gaze, a subtlety in your voice, a deliberately masculine energy. Women pick up on these signals instantly. They feel your intention. Here, many men fail by trying to be nice and respectful to the point of completely neutralizing any sexual tension. They interact as if they are talking to a co-worker or a friend, magically hoping attraction will arise out of nowhere. It never works. Polarity must be established from the very first moment. Phase 2. Calibrated receptivity testing. Once initial polarity is established, you need to continuously gauge her receptivity to determine when and how to escalate. This involves what I call intention touches, brief, seemingly casual physical contacts that communicate romantic interest while observing her response. A light touch on her arm during a moment of laughter. A brief hand on her lower back as you guide her through a doorway. A touch on her knee to emphasize a point during a seated conversation. These are not aggressive sexual moves. They are calibrated expressions of masculine intention that create opportunities for her to demonstrate receptivity. The key here is calibration. If she responds positively, leaning in, touching you back, maintaining physical proximity, you gradually advance. If you sense resistance, you temporarily retreat, rebuild comfort, then attempt a different form of escalation when the moment is appropriate. This dance of advance and calibration is the essence of skilled seduction. Phase 3. Creating opportunities for intimacy. The transition from mutual interest to physical intimacy rarely happens by accident. It requires deliberate intention. You need to create contexts where intimacy can occur naturally. This might mean suggesting a change of environment. I know a quieter spot where we can continue this conversation, or creating a moment of privacy even in a social setting. The fatal mistake many men make is waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. They talk for hours, building connection, but never communicating sexual desire or creating opportunities to express it. Then they wonder why they end up in the friend zone. The truth is, intimate moments rarely just happen. They are created by men who understand how to intentionally lead towards intimacy. If this content is revealing perspectives you've never considered before, hit the comments right now and share your thoughts. Share it with that friend who desperately needs this information. And if you want to go even deeper, stick around until the end. I'm going to reveal how to integrate these 4 principles into a coherent system that will completely transform your results with women. Now, allow me to present a truth that few men are ready to hear, but which will completely transform your understanding of female attraction. The true game of seduction doesn't happen in the external world. It happens in her mind. Understanding deep female psychology is what will separate you from 99% of men who are blindly fumbling in the dark, repeating the same mistakes without understanding why they consistently fail. Women don't respond primarily to what you say or do. They respond to what you make them feel. And to make a woman feel deep attraction, you need to understand the emotional triggers that activate her unconscious desire. Let's explore the 3 most powerful ones. First, the paradox of safety and excitement. Women are simultaneously attracted to 2 seemingly contradictory sets of qualities: emotional safety and unpredictable excitement. The man who offers only safety quickly becomes boring and asexual in the eyes of women. The man who offers only excitement is perceived as unstable and unsuitable for genuine connection. The truly magnetic man has mastered the art of embodying both qualities simultaneously. He has an unshakable foundation of emotional stability, integrity, and presence, creating safety, while simultaneously incorporating elements of mystery, challenge, and unpredictability that create excitement. This combination is literally irresistible to the female brain. In practice, this means alternating moments of deep emotional connection with moments of playful teasing. It means being completely present and then creating intentional distance. It means expressing genuine vulnerability in one moment and firm leadership in the next. This dynamic dance between poles creates an emotional magnetic field she cannot resist. Second, the emotional mirror. Women are biologically attracted to men who can competently navigate the emotional world. I'm not talking about being overly emotional or dramatic. I'm talking about the ability to recognize, validate, and respond appropriately to her emotions without being consumed by them. When a woman expresses emotion, whether positive or negative, your response reveals volumes about your emotional intelligence. Emotionally immature men try to argue with her emotions, diminish them, or ignore them. Emotionally developed men recognize the emotion, validate her experience, connect with the underlying need, then skillfully lead to a more productive emotional state. This ability to be an emotional mirror, reflecting her emotions while remaining centered in your own stability, creates a sense of deep psychological safety that few women experience with men. When you master this art, it literally becomes addictive for her to be in your presence. Third, the strategic vulnerability trigger. Here is a secret that very few men understand. Calibrated vulnerability, not weakness, but authentic vulnerability, is one of the most powerful amplifiers of attraction that exists. When a visibly powerful and confident man selectively chooses to reveal genuine aspects of his inner experience, it creates an instant emotional intimacy that few women can resist. The key is the word strategic. Indiscriminate or excessive vulnerability is perceived as weakness and repels. Complete absence of vulnerability creates a wall that prevents genuine connection. Strategic vulnerability is the calibrated revelation of personal truths that demonstrate security in your own masculinity and invites genuine connection. In practice, this means occasionally sharing overcome insecurities, not current ones, challenges faced or authentic feelings about her or your interaction, always from a place of strength, never seeking validation or sympathy. This selective vulnerability creates emotional depth that dramatically distinguishes you from other men. Now imagine integrating these 4 fundamental principles: the paradox of inverse attraction, the mastery of polarized masculine presence, subconscious communication that transcends words, and intentional escalation into a coherent system informed by a deep understanding of female psychology. When you master this integration, you're not just playing a different game, you're playing on a completely different level. We are no longer talking about techniques or approaches. Guys, we are talking about a fundamental transformation in your identity as a man. When you completely internalize these principles, female attraction becomes the natural side effect of who you are, not something you desperately try to create or pursue. This is the difference between men who constantly struggle to generate female interest and those for whom an abundance of romantic and sexual options is simply a normal aspect of life. The former are constantly doing, the latter are simply being. But let's be honest, real transformation takes time. It requires consistent practice, honest feedback, and experienced guidance. There is no magic pill. There is no instant solution. What does exist is a proven path of masculine development that, when followed with discipline, produces transformative results. Let me share a concrete example. John was an intelligent guy, professionally successful, with good intentions, but his romantic life was a series of disappointments. He alternated between being the nice guy who ended up in the friend zone and trying artificial player tactics that felt forced and rarely worked. After internalizing the principles we discussed today, the transformation was profound. Not only did his interactions with women change dramatically, from tense and anxious to fluid and magnetic, but his presence in the world as a man fundamentally evolved. Co-workers started respecting him more, friends started seeking his leadership, and women started pursuing him instead of the other way around, all because he stopped trying to do seduction and started embodying these principles in his very being. This is the promise of authentic masculine development. Not just more dates or more sex, although that will come naturally, but a complete transformation in your experience as a man in the modern world. Unshakable confidence that emanates from within you, regardless of external circumstances. A presence that naturally attracts people, not just women, into your orbit. Before we wrap up, let me give you 3 concrete steps you can implement immediately to begin your transformation journey. First, practice conscious detachment from outcome in all your social interactions, especially with women. Enter every interaction with the mindset of, I am here to express my authentic essence and fully enjoy this moment, regardless of the result. Second, commit to a daily masculine presence development program. 10 minutes of meditation focused on deep breathing. 20 minutes of challenging physical exercise. Regular practice of your voice, posture, and eye contact. These simple practices, when done consistently, literally recalibrate your nervous system for a more powerful presence. Third, seek honest feedback from sources you respect. Not from friends who will just tell you what you want to hear, but from mentors and coaches who have already walked the path you are beginning to tread. Honest external feedback is the most powerful accelerator of real growth. If this video touched something deep within you, if you felt that resonance that signals a truth you always knew intuitively but never consciously articulated, hit the like button, share it with other men who need this message, and subscribe to the channel now. Next week, I will go deeper into each of these principles with specific examples and practical exercises you can implement immediately. The choice is now yours. You can continue in the matrix of misinformation that keeps most men trapped in perpetual cycles of romantic frustration. Or you can embark on the journey of self-discovery and authentic development that will not only transform your results with women, but revolutionize your experience as a man in the modern world. The path is not easy, but I can guarantee every step is worth it. See you in the next video.